Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to a direct straight to you from the planet Zebes or Zebes or something. I am making a video, first of 2021, and my big exciting theme for today is that I played Metroid this weekend. Like, I didn't play a lot of it, but I played it, and I had a great experience with it. I definitely experienced it, and I figured I was gonna make some sort of video to capitalize on the strangeness of all that because I have so many thoughts about it. And I have decided to do a sort of Animal Crossing podcast thing. I tried a little rebrand. I made a logo. I was so, oh my god, I've been so half awake ever since the new year. I've been up till midnight every single night, so I've been on another planet in every term. And my vision was, okay, I'm going to make a video kind of like the Animal Crossing videos, but I'm going to do it in Metroid, because that's like the opposite of Animal Crossing New Horizons, because you're alone, and it's cold, and it's old instead of new, and there's no co-op. It's very directive-based. The assets are just about the worst, like the oldest video game assets ever, and you can't emote at all. That was my big funny idea, and I actually ended up making this new logo and this new concept. I called it Star Talks because, if I stick with this Layla of the Stars brand, then that can cover a lot of different things. It can be a podcast if I end up doing like a true and proper podcast, because it'd be the whole channel would be star themed, and talks would be there. But also, I heard a lot of my friends already respond positively to the concept of my video game ranking stars, so I think a lot of what I'll be talking about here will be stars anyhow. So I figure I can get use out of this brand, this new IP one way or another. And also it sounds like Star Fox, which was a lot funnier to me 2 days ago. I'm like, Star Talks, that's perfect. I'm a little less proud of it now. I worked hard on the icon. I really, much more than I usually spend time on my graphic design stuff. I fussed around with it. You may notice it's the same color scheme as the Honey Cove one, but I don't care, because those are the colors that I like. That's why they're that color. But yeah, so today, we're in Animal Crossing again, because I ditched on the idea of recording in the NES emulator. I ditched that idea for a little bit more expression. I wanted to get comfy by the fire. Hope you appreciate it. It's cold out. I did that. I'm here. And yeah, part of the rebrand was sort of, I figure I will try to make a better line between videos that are actually me playing Animal Crossing and videos that are just me kind of talking, because I think talking fits great in Animal Crossing, but especially when I veer into like current events and stuff, I feel like it can be sort of like, not what people came here for. So I'm going to try to keep using these different brand logos. I guess I have 2 long-term ones now going into 2021 to differentiate things. I think if you see the Honey Cove logo, it'll be more focused on the fact that I'm playing Animal Crossing versus using it as a venue. And I think there's no specific way in which I will create Star Talks videos if I keep using that. Yeah, we'll see what sticks. But I've been thinking I was given I watched Soul. It was pretty nice. I think a lot of introspection from the movie Soul by Pixar for sure, especially after spending like the whole year just totally fussing over my career and stuff. It was really interesting. If anything, I think I have some sort of spark for talking, especially about things that I enjoy and getting into detail. So I figure I might as well do more talking stuff going into the new year. I still haven't really sorted out any big long-term plans for the channel to talk about, but I know I want to keep doing what makes me excited, and I don't know, something about giving like a whole podcast from like Planet Zebes like in dank Brinstar depths or something really got me going. So I'm like, I'm gonna make a start of the year video. Now I've talked about the fact that you're watching this video a whole bunch. We're not in Planet Zebes. We are listening to Metroid music though now. I have a whole bunch of Metroid music on my computer now. Figured that would capture the strangeness I was going for. To top things off, so today I want to talk about Metroid and my experience playing Rescue Team DX right after Christmas. That was my first game of 2021, and I played all of it very quickly. So I want to talk about an idea for a new like game rating star that I've really, I was already talking about during the 2020s video, but I've kind of started to really key into with Metroid's bits that I played and Mystery Dungeon. But at the end, I think just because I'm here and I don't want to do like a big edited thing for it, I'm also going to go over my 2021 gamer wish list. So if you stick to the end or skip to the end, you can get past all the crunchy gamer topics and just see my wish lists. A little less crunchy, a little more fun. So without further ado, I'm gonna get comfy by the fire, get my throat all hydrated, and start talking about things. What do you think? Am I good at giving intros? I can't decide if I ever want to make an actual podcast because I figure I can use my Twitter for a lot of personal stuff and social events and whatnot, so I don't need to cram all of my ideas into an audio format. But I don't know. One thing I do want to talk about is video games right now. I want to talk about video games right now. So starting off, yeah, gosh. My notes. I don't usually make notes. I have to do it for some things, like I did it for the 2020s video. But my one note that I'm going to start with is Pipe Bug Party. I like how I wrote that. Pipe Bug Party. The story of Metroid, in my weekend with Metroid, I came home and I had been hanging out at Sam's family's house all week and it was really, really comfy. I came back and I was like, ugh, I'd rather not be at my parents' house right now. Kind of icky here. And for some reason I came home and I was kind of feeling icky and I decided this would be a great time to play the original Metroid. I've had it on my old childhood 3DS for a pretty long time now. Childhood 3DS. I wasn't a child when the 3DS came out. I was a teen. When the 3DS came out. I've had it on there for a while, and obviously, as you know from what I've talked about with Hollow Knight and a few other things, I've always been interested in Metroidvanias. In fact, I'm a bit like suspicious where I actually got my inspiration to play them, because Kirby and the Amazing Mirror was my first Kirby game and absolutely one of my baby games that I just played a whole bunch before I was lucid. I was like in second grade probably when I got that. And that has the entire Metroidvania format minus item progression. Like, the way you unlock worlds and stuff is pretty non-linear, and it's always kind of appealed to me, being able to move through a 2D space in that sort of go where you want to go way. You know, even before, like, my question is why I like item progression so much, because I don't know, because I didn't play Zelda, I don't really know where I got the idea to like item progression. I don't know where that developed, but the idea of crawling around a 2D space and going whatever way I want and having permanent progress markers and stuff does go all the way back to Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. So that's always kind of been floating around in my head, and I guess I've always kind of known that. But honestly, before stuff like Metroid, I'm like, or before stuff like Hollow Knight, I'm like, where did I get the idea that I wanted to play this genre? I probably downloaded the original Metroid during my Smash days. There was a time where my roster was a lot more fluid before I cut all of it, besides Lucina. Back in 2015, I probably had a phase where I was interested in playing Zero Suit Samus, and I was thinking about Metroid. I probably had a 2015, like, attempt at starting a Metroid phase, which, didn't really go too far. I bought, Metroid Samus Returns? The 3DS one, the remake of number 2. When it came out, probably because I saw somebody online say, like, you gotta buy this! The series is floundering! Or something. I was pretty informed, you know, so I would have known what it meant for Metroid, so I bought it. I probably played an hour or something, and I was like, this is cool. Yeah, so those are my only real delves into it, and I wish I could say that I was, like, becoming a whole tried-and-true Metroid fan right now, but I don't think I am. I had a fun time kind of doing my research and figuring out a bit of like what I needed to know to survive in Brinstar when I was playing, because, you know, it definitely gripped me, and I'll talk about why. But you know, I was really taken by Samus and the music. I was really taken by how Samus controlled in the 1986 game. You know, I was really shocked by how fast you could switch between like standing and ball form, and how fast you could, you know, aim your gun and move up and down, move even like back and forth to hit things, like pivoting side to side to move and also shoot what's behind you. I was pretty impressed, and I really liked tapping minus to get the blue glow, and how the blue glow, once you have missiles and you activate the missiles, even if you're in a ball, your ball has a little blue glow. I thought that was really neat. So I really liked playing as Samus, and I will now go into what the pipe bug party was, because the first moment where I was like, what the hell, was this reoccurring situation they put you in Brinstar, where I'll put up footage if I can get it. I should. You walk up, and you've got the ceiling monster that comes down, it flies down from the ceiling, and it kind of stays at your level, and just fucking slowly goes right through you, like kind of like a hopper, something similar, maybe the more chaotic ones from Queen's Garden and Hollow Knight. It comes down and kind of like slides towards you, and it's really easy to just die if it's near you, because you just keep taking damage the longer you're near it, but what you have to do is jump, and then it goes back up to the ceiling. So that was one of the first things I had to figure out how to deal with. There was like the ceiling monster that is just coming down into your space. It's very big, and it just kind of stays down on the ground near you until you jump, and it goes back up, then it comes back down at you. And there's also these pipe bugs, usually in pairs. They look like warp pipes. You get near them, and they come out and they fly at you wherever you are. And if you shoot it, it comes back. If you shoot one, it's like at your head length. You shoot it, it spawns again. And then if it spawns and you shoot it before it even flies at you, it spawns even faster. So you could feasibly just keep shooting the thing right where it keeps respawning, and it just keeps spawning at you, which was really obviously overwhelming. So the first time that I ran into the combination of these things, where I've got pipe bugs on one side, more pipe bugs on the other side, and the ceiling thing coming down to just be in my business, I just disengaged. I was like, what the heck? Because there was so much going on. And I think at that point I may have even known, like, okay, if I can jump, then the ceiling thing will go back to the ceiling. But a huge point I forgot to mention about the pipe bugs is the way you deal with them is you jump really high while they're coming out of their tube. They'll follow you up if you jump before they spawn, and then they'll be at like a higher altitude and they'll fly up there. So that way they take longer flying that way is what I found, so you can use that to kind of get around them. And the idea here is you're timing your jumps. Oh my god, that's right. Her jump feels really good. I like the way that Samus's jump is so long and floaty and she spins. Like, that was super satisfying. I definitely gave it the Samus star, which is amazing, because that may be the first character star historically made, if 1986 Samus was the first character that I'm like, I like controlling this character chronologically. So note that down. But yeah, so you have to time your jumps to get the ceiling bug to go up to the ceiling at an appropriate time and not be in your business. And you have to jump enough to manage all 4 of the bugs sometimes, the pipe bugs, to make sure that they're flying up high and then dashing at you, so as to not just be completely bombarding you on the ground where you are. So this was really overwhelming at first, and I had the same response to it that I had to Photoshop Flowey in Undertale the first time I had it, where there was so much going on, especially like thematically, and all of a sudden I was being bombarded by just a comical amount of attacks, and I just turned to Sam and Liz and I was like, I can't fight this. What am I supposed to do? Like, I just completely disengaged, and it was really hard. But I'm starting to think, and my theme of today is the engagement star. I started to talk about this, and stop me if it's incredibly, no, actually, don't stop me, even if it's incredibly basic. Because that's something I've kind of been working on for a while. I've been thinking, like, when there's a certain degree of puzzle to the action that I'm doing, or like thinking to the action that I'm doing, it's really engaging. I had a good Celeste phase around Christmas. I played a bunch, and I was playing Farewell for the first time, and I've put a lot of energy into that chapter, and I've already had to take a break after like 4 or 5 hours. It's just been really fun, but a really big project, and there's so many amazing moments of like, holy crap. So if I dash up, I can grab the jellyfish, I can throw it, I can dash again, I can grab it again, I can throw it. It's almost as hard to puzzle out as it is to do. Not that that's actually true, because it's so hard to do these things physically, for me at least, but it was this great moment of like, not only being both physically and mentally aware of the action, but also this moment of like choice, where it's something that's like, I can chill out or like, you know, stop and give up on this, but if I push just a little bit and I'm fully aware mentally of what that push would mean, like, holy crap, I gotta decide where to go right now, and physically I'm also like, can I even push these buttons that fast? That's a really good pocket to be in. So Metroid gave me that feeling really early, where I was like, how do I deal with up to 4 pipe bugs and the ceiling thing? And it was like, well, Samus can react fast enough, so can you do something fast enough? And there was this amazing moment, maybe the first time that I dealt with the pipe bug party, was I freaking turned, shot one of them on my right? The other one was probably coming at me from behind at like head height. So I ducked, I pressed down, I turned into a ball. If that was the moment, I was like, holy crap, I just dodged something. Then I got back up and I probably jumped to get the freaking ceiling bug to go up and not fly at me. And that was probably on top of also jumping to navigate. So there's so much going on at once, both physically and mentally. And I was like, this is really cool. So that was kind of the high point, I would say. For gameplay, I can't think of any other notes besides music, I guess I could talk about, but that was really it for me. It was really engaging to have so many, puzzly monsters to figure out at the same time, and then also to manage them at the same time. It was just a really big challenge, and then actually being able to do what I was thinking of doing was really amazing. I had a similar moment revisiting Amazing Mirror, which I've cited twice now. Way to go. But I revisited Amazing Mirror and I tried something new. I tried using the bomb ability for the first time in like a long ever. And I'm not a big bomb girl, but I was running at one of the heavy sword knights and I tossed my bomb forward with a lot of push. So like a being right at him. But I had enough time to jump, take out my bomb, aim it downwards, and then throw it again. It was amazing. So I was able to beat him, jump, aim one down, throw it at him again. It was a 1-2 and it finished him off. And it was so satisfying because it took like that gut moment of like, hey, if I jumped and if this ability has a nice downward aiming thing, I could do this. And then actually doing it felt amazing because I was like, wow, that was so fast. And I played with Bomb a bunch and all around it feels really good. It's the first time I've ever really vibed with Bomb, but similar to ducking under the pipe bugs, I was like, holy crap, I thought of that and I did it, and that made it way more engaging. Like, that was really cool. I thought of a way to hit him twice in a row and I did it. And yeah, that's kind of how I felt, being able to do that quick turnaround with the bombs and avoid and shoot and also navigate the altitude of all the pipe bugs and the pipe bug party. It's this really similar kind of action engagement, and yeah, that's kind of just what I'm thinking. This is a really special moment that I had, and I was like, this is cool. Like, I'm going to use this as a point of reference, so I wanted to take a second and talk about that. And now I need to drink water because I don't know, my throat's getting dry. How do people normally pace themselves during things like this? Not that I haven't done it like so many times. So yeah, I really clicked with the action of Metroid. I really enjoyed being in there, mostly because of the music. I guess I'll make my music star note here. I also played Stardew Valley a little bit in the last week. I kind of had a little phase with it, and I didn't really connect with the gameplay much. I really wanted to be there, but I didn't click great with the gameplay. That's fine. I played it like 4 years ago and had a great time, so I'm just kind of shelving it again for now. But I really was shocked whenever the music would come in passively in that Minecraft kind of way, where it goes from silent to music. I always really liked the melodies, and also like the sound font, the flavor of the song. I really liked that. It was really, really nice. And I really like Brinstar, and I think Create's Lair, or Lower Brinstar it's called sometimes. Those are the two songs that I was exploring Metroid to, and I listened to more of the soundtrack, and none of the other ones really had melodies that got me quite the same way, but those melodies did a lot for like keeping me going during the sections that I was playing, and that was pretty nice. But yeah, that was kind of it. That's kind of all I got out of my time with Metroid, I would say. But this is all just a segue to Rescue Team DX. I played the remake of Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team, the first one, and it was so powerful. I played both Gates and Super for the first time last year, so I literally just finished Super and then took a week off, and then Christmas came and I got Rescue Team DX, so I was pretty fresh, and it was so perfect. I don't even know what to make of it. I might work at ranking it live here. I've obviously thought a little bit about where it got stars, but I make this segue because there were many times playing it where the way that they brought the original songs to life, which I think I would go back and like the original Rescue Team soundtrack even more now, if I were to do it, because I think a lot of the melody, again, it was these melodies that kept kind of getting me. I thought they were really like nice, like especially a lot of the simple ones, like when you're at your base and stuff like that. There was some stuff like in the valley heading up to Zatu where I was like, this is really nice melody. Or maybe that wasn't why I liked that song, but there were a lot of times when I was like, man, wanna know why I'm playing this game so much? Because this sounds so good. It wasn't just like the melody or anything that made the RTDX soundtrack good, because like it was really lush. Like there was a lot of cool instruments that I was happy to be hearing. It had a really, really nice flavor. But I bring up RTDX in the context of Metroid because I super engaged with that game. Like as you know, I've been kind of moving away from RPGs for kind of a lack of engagement in the combat, especially, and lack of long-term engagement too. I'm not sure what that is, pacing, but RTDX just kind of had this really, really good gameplay that I've been liking with Mystery Dungeon, where it's kind of become like my favorite way to experience Pokemon, where you're navigating tight matchups and stuff, which I always like. But and I've talked about this before, I really like all of the special elements added to the moves, like the difference between a ranged and a close move, or new effects like movement speed instead of just speed. It's really nice. It really scratches an itch that I've kind of always had for strategy and action, and it's very fulfilling. But our Rescue Team DX specifically went on and scratched a whole bunch of RPG itches that I've always had, especially the Rescue Team, and it was wonderful. My favorite thing was the unique powers. I totally forget what they're called, like the special abilities or whatever. You get them kind of randomly. Like you can give a character a gummy and they might get a special power randomly, and it can be the first two ones that I got were my Mudkip for the entire game had the ability to walk through walls at the expense of Belty, which used to be a IQ skill. I think a lot of these used to be hidden really deep into the gummy tree as like IQ skills back in the day. And then my Torchic had one that sort of had a snowball effect for recruitment, which is another thing I'll get into. You get to recruit up to like 8 Pokemon at a time. You head into the dungeon with trios, which was perfect to me. But as you go, you can pick up to 8 Pokemon, whether or not you can house them. And that there's so many times where you're managing a huge team, and with these unique powers that boost like recruitment based on how many Pokemon you have, it's easy to snowball. You can have some missions where you have 3 Pokemon, and then just as easily have another one where you get up to like 7. Like, I guess we have a Stampede today. And what made them so exciting was they gave me this desire to team build. Like, this game firmly has what I would call the RPG star, because I've always really wanted an RPG where I get to like make a team and it matters. Like my favorite example was I had a Voltorb who came with Steamroll, which lets you use moves kind of regardless of whether they're not very effective or not, or even if they're resisted, which is super OP. But literally, like, it was an electric type, so it could just use electric moves on ground type Pokemon for normal damage, and that benefits the whole team. So yes, it was kind of busted and whatever, because I really enjoyed it. I made him a team of other electric types so that they had one weakness, which was ground, but ground types just get shocked like anything else. And then on top of that, Magnemite had Signal Beam on that team, so we were just sniping bug. I can't believe how fun it is to snipe with bug type moves. And Super Chespin had Pin Missile, and it was my absolute favorite move. But we had Signal Beam with Steamroll, so not only was bug pretty good, grass, so not often grass, but because of poison half types or bug half types, but Psychic, Dark, those all just got pegged and beamed just from across the room. Pew! But, it can hit anything, like Steel types. You're still getting the Signal Beam. It's still going to be normal type damage. So it was so fun having Voltorb around, and it kind of, like, helped give Voltorb this kind of personality, I guess, or, like, it, like, meant something to have Voltorb around. So we started letting Voltorb stick around on the main team as our third member. We had 2 swapping third members, and that was just really engaging to me. Like, I think not in the same Samus way, not like in the action way. Sometimes in the Samus way. I mean, it was one step away from the action and more towards thinking, because there would be stuff like, I don't know, you just have a bigger toolkit in Mystery Dungeon is how I feel, compared to normal Pokemon or any other RPG I really play. And that segues to our other helper, was Meditite. Meditite was super good. I invested in Meditite because he was like our first person we got, and time went on, and at the end, Meditite just got really good. Her special unique power was never super relevant, but Focus Blast was the TM that we gave her, and it was amazing. It was so good that it got annoying. It was similar to the game, as it was like a strong special type fighting move. And the thing is, it was ranged, so you could just fire this energy ball across the room, and fighting type damage is so great. It would just clobber so many things. Just Meditite was always throwing these huge energy balls across the room, so it added this element of strategy and engagement for me, where, you know, we didn't just have to walk up to the Pokemon and press A and bash, and whoever had the right type advantage won. We could, like, you know, wear things down from afar, which is, I think, kind of an old Mystery Dungeon thing. Like, if you have gravel rocks and ranged moves, you can wear down tough enemies before they even reach you, for sure. But, I don't know, it made boss fights so exciting, having Pokemon in large numbers. Also, there were a few times where I was totally blown away by how engaged I was with a boss fight, because, like, we picked up 2 Poochyena and brought Meditite to fight Team Yeez, so I was expecting a normal Team Yeez fight, like, oh, it's so close, we got Medicham, can we get Gengar, oh my god, but no, we just, like, sicked these dogs on him. We just brought out these 2 Poochyena who were, like, resisting a bunch of his moves, and they just started biting, like, there were so many Pokemon at once, and, Focus Blast wouldn't have done anything, but we didn't have Focus Blast then. And it was just awesome seeing how the gameplay kind of changed when it had like a huge team, you know. And Meditite really capitalized on that also with Acupressure, which is a sharp or like triple boost to a random stat for every party member, which again is super busted, but it was so satisfying and it had a good little sound design. It didn't take too long to do the animation either, so I would just switch to Meditite if you had like a big team and just, you know, tap Acupressure, get a random stat up on everybody, and all this stuff is unfolding. So the big story I have with Mystery Dungeon was actually the Groudon story, where plot-wise, we were at a pretty intense moment where the whole world was like, you guys are pretty tough now, you've done a lot, but you're not as tough as those guys, and those guys are down in Groudon's cave, so we gotta get a real team down there to save them, and even they couldn't do it. And there was actually a pretty nice moment where like the partner is like, no, everybody, even if we've lost once, we have to go try again. It was like very, you know, cliche, but I was like hyped up by it, and I went down there to the magma cave and what happened was like probably Metroid, probably my only war story I'll never have. We went down there, we had my Mudkip and my Torchic, the leaders of Team Shiny Days, and we had Meditite, right? And as things are going on, we picked up 2 Sandshrews, and I was like, oh, they're so cute. And I got a Nidoqueen, and I'm like, oh, that's great. And then we got another Nidoqueen, because, like I said, you can really snowball all your Pokemon. So we had the trio, we had our ground Kanto animals, and things were going fine. And then we ran into our first ever monster house, and by poor planning, I'll buy that. I really like item planning. I like item rationing. That can be really very engaging in these games. I don't know if it's engaging for me in all games, but Mystery Dungeon, I love like plotting item use and stuff and saving and rationing them out. I like it a lot. Anyhow, I failed to do that, and we lost Mudkip and Torchic with no hope of return. Probably around like floor 11, and I didn't realize just how long these first 2 games had dungeons, so we lost the leaders and we just had Meditite and the herd, and I spent probably 40 minutes of super intense. I think a lot of these late game dungeons had good music. Moltres and Articuno's dungeons had great music, and this cave may have also had good music. But it was just Meditite and the items I had in my bag. It was like the ultimate Metroid fantasy. Like if you play Metroid to feel like you're the last soldier out on the wild, like fighting against things, like against all odds, trying to keep yourself alive, like a zombie fantasy kind of. That's exactly how I felt. It was so intense. Meditite had to manage 4 Pokemon and get them through, I think, 11 floors of the hardest dungeon we had ever done. So everything was so intense, and it was all lava and these cool earth-type Pokemon and random stuff like Magnitude and Earthquake just hitting the whole team, and it was so intense. We just like barely hang on. We picked up a Jumpluff who had steamroll. So I was like, oh boy, we're in business. Now we can hit regardless of type resistance. So Nidoqueen was just that much more relevant, poison against ground. And we picked up another Jumpluff, and I was like, okay, this is the team. But then things started to get sad. Like, we would be going through, and it's like a fight would be getting too rough, and I just couldn't manage the items, or something crazy would happen. Like, we lost Sandshrew. We lost one of the Sandshrews, and I was like, that's messed up. You shouldn't have to lose your Sandshrew in a game. And we just kept going, and the Nidoqueens were trying to be so tough and everything, but we lost one of the Nidoqueens too. I remember there was this Crobat that killed somebody. It was so scary. It killed somebody, and then it wanted to join us, and I said, no. I think one part of how that game worked was if your new friend passes out on a floor, you can revive it, but if you leave that floor, it's off your team. So it was very eerie when I'm like, we still have 8 people on our team, right? So I can revive Sandshrew? And then somebody joined, and it didn't say I have too many members, and I was like, oh, Sandshrew's not coming back. So again, just Meditite having the moment of her life, guiding this whole herd through. So we lose a Sandshrew, we lose a Nidoqueen, eventually we lose a Jumpluff too. So it was like Life of Pi or something. Like at the beginning when there's all the animals that actually weren't animals and may have been him like traumatically repressing memories of like his family or something. I think his family was on the boat. Actually that's a heavy movie. I won't call that into question. That's actually really heavy if that's what that was a metaphor for. Anyhow, Meditite and the Nidoqueen is trying to be strong for little baby Sandshrew, and Jumpluff is there. We ended up recruiting a Lunatone, and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever it takes to keep going. As long as we get to the Kangaskhan statue and we can plot revive our friends and get new items, then we're fine. And we keep going on. We got a Solrock. That was really nice. And it's hard to even convey. It was just such a powerful, solitary experience. I'm just trying to keep the herd together. So we did make it. We got to the Kangaskhan Stone, and we plot revived the main members, and then Meditite probably was just like shell-shocked and didn't say what he had been through, and it was fine. It was fine. And then they're like, man, I think Meditite should talk to someone about what she just had to lead the team through. And they get their healing items and stuff. I decided all the money in the bank I had was gone. I took out a bank orb and a Wigglytuff orb and spent 12,000. I took out 12,000 gold. I started the late section. The whole team got hit for like 70 points from some earthquake or something. I still don't know what it was. Nidoqueen and Torchic both go down. We revive them. Turn 2, I buy 12,000 gold of real estate with the Wigglytuff orb, so everybody who we saved could stay with us permanently. I bought 12,000 gold of real estate in the magma cavern. It was so weird and intense. So we get down there, Lunatone, Solrock, Sandshrew, Nidoqueen, and Jumpluff. And this dude has like plot armor and stuff. Like he's a really big deal. And we get in there and it's a huge, cool fight. There's like its own mechanics now. There's like magma and we get blown away sometimes. It's a really cool new boss fight they invented. And we just beat him down like a riot on a shopping cart. I don't know, like we just went crazy. It was amazing. Meditite got blown to the corner, and it was just like acupressure. Everybody, the whole room got some stats. Just kept using acupressure. I think we got a speed boost, so now everybody's operating at triple speed. It was incredible. Nidoqueen goes right up to the feet of Groudon and is just punching at his belly. Just like, you bastard! Just Groudon has no clue what was coming for him because of how much just life we had to go through to get to him. So Nidoqueen is just punching him for like barely any damage or whatever, but then Jumpluff is stationed like the American sniper, just bullet seed, and then Chlorophyll is out because of Sunny Day, so she would get like a second round of super effective bullet seed. She was just doing hundreds of damage every single turn from across the room, and Sandshrew eventually joins Nidoqueen and it starts pounding on Groudon. The 2 leaders are there. We keep having to heal Solrock and Lunatone, and we're trying to keep things in the... It was just like such a childish fantasy come true, like this insanely dramatic setting in Pokemon, and all of it was just like actually happening. Like nothing I said was fabricated except for like emotional bits. Like all of that happened. And for me, I was just so engaged down to my core. And that was just like the RTDX experience. Like it was so cool. The plot stuff afterwards was so satisfying because of what we got, and I don't know. like, again, I'll say, like, I don't think it's, like, my super favorite genre or anything, you know, roguelikes, and I don't know, like, I just think I like Mystery Dungeon a lot, and I just think that was so engaging, because I could use my brain and have these strategies and have them pay off, and it was sweet. So maybe I had brain damage from being meditate and having to plan, like, wow, Sandshrew the second might die soon, and it's on me, and I'm in a fire cave. Like, maybe that's what made me want to play Metroid. I feel like I'm alone against all odds or something. I got, like, Metroid brain damage or something. Goodness gracious, yeah. I'm so glad I got to tell that story. It was so intense for me. Yeah, like, I really hit the right way. And I don't even know if I'm gonna go back to it. Like, I knew I wanted to stop after the main story, and I knew there was a lot of good post-game stuff, but at the same time I was like, like, do I really want to, like, have more challenges, like, more content without much story? I'm kind of like, maybe that was enough. Maybe I'm fine. Like, I really enjoy it, and I'm really looking forward to the next Mystery Dungeon, but I'm kind of like, you know, do I want to play it just to play it? Like, would I play Mystery Dungeon just for the gameplay? Like, if there was no novelty, if there was no, like, main story or anything, would I play more? Maybe. I really enjoy it. I think it's, like, my favorite Pokemon thing now. And, yeah, I think I've said my bit. I think that's just how I feel about the engagement star. I still have to piece out whether that what I'm talking about is the same thing, but you know, from puzzles that really put you in the moment and totally non-action games to action like Kirby that I just happen to make more engaging with my brain. I think it's this sort of, like, balance of mental and tactile engagement for me that just really brings it all in. And I don't know, you know, let me know what you think if you're my friend. If you're not my friend, that was a tender story. Don't say anything. I hate you. Just kidding. I'm glad you got to hear it if you're not my friend. But, you know, I'll sit with that. I think that could be a very important star and an important way to start judging gameplay. Like, was the puzzle engaging? Like, was it that perfect balance of hard and easy? Because I was I had a terrible night's sleep. I was like, my NyQuil didn't wear off till, like, the middle of the day today, and I was just playing Mario 3D Land because I didn't know what I wanted to play, and I didn't want to play Stardew Valley or Metroid anymore. And I was getting some harder levels in the second section, and I was really being pushed like I hadn't been, but I was kind of also adapting, so I was kind of in that engagement zone again. I was like, this is engaging platforming. Like, I could feel myself learning some 3D Mario stuff and really having to pay attention and, you know, think, how do I work around these enemies in the moment, you know? They don't always act the same way, so I gotta be ready to think about how to deal with them when they do this and they do that. It was like a monster gambit for one of the levels, so I had to do a lot more fighting than I've ever done in a Mario game, and it was pretty fun. Like, it was really engaging. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's the same feeling of engagement no matter what game type it comes from, and that may spawn tons of little stars, but at the moment I'm just like, you know, cut trail puzzles would engage me. Like, I would really get into them, and you know, action can engage me in a game like Metroid, where I'm thinking and puzzling out something, or Celeste, where I'm doing impossibly complicated stuff, but it's paying off when I put that little risk in, either, you know, doing one more button press than I should, or thinking something crazy in the moment. You know, Hollow Knight, doing stuff like working around a boss's shield and making little dashes and thinking like, oh, he's gonna put a shield there, so I'm gonna go around and get him there, and it's really good. Another engaging thing, just as another note on those two, is I liked the energy tanks in Metroid. I liked how you could, if you were really doing well in that arcadey way that I remember from Sword Beams in Zelda 1, if you were doing well, you could always stack up a bunch of energy, and, like, you know, 3 times or more as much as you had when you were starting your life. So it was cool. You know, it could also go very fast, but I was thinking about that as similar to having a lot of soul in Hollow Knight, but way more fulfilling too, even though it could go faster, I guess. It was like a lot of room to add to your life. If you were doing really well, you could really boost up your energy, and that to me was really cool. And similar with if you have a big party in Mystery Dungeon, I was kind of thinking that. And Hollow Knight kind of has that built in as one of its main mechanics, but you can only get so, like, steamroller, you know? You can only get so much soul stacked up to be so invincible. Like, you're probably still just gonna take some hits and use some soul at some point, so you can't really get that momentum going no matter how well you're playing. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of... I don't have all the... Maybe I have all the soul meters in my first file I did there. Not the Let's Play one, for sure. And then there's also different charms I might not know about, but I don't know. It's a kind of old video gamey, like, really good life kind of thing. You have, like, a bad life, then you have really good life. I just want to keep going. I just want to keep progressing because I'm doing so well. That's pretty engaging. I don't know if it's the same though. But, yeah, that's pretty fun. The groudon story, the pipe bug party. Pretty fun for me. Alright, well, I guess I'm going to timestamp this and head right on to my 2021 gamer list. This does deserve its own video for absolute certain, but I don't want to edit that. So I'm going to get on up, change what I'm doing, go over here, and I'm out. Okay, so my first really big want is a Switch Pro Lite. I want there to be a Switch Pro, which seems like it's been rumored, and then I want that to have a Lite version, because something that's been rumored an awful lot is better handheld screens with 1080p, and I think micro LEDs instead of backlit, which to what I understand means that it's brighter and less like kind of murky looking. So I really have been enjoying playing my Switch in handheld. It's just a little bit too big and clunky and stuff. Like this is on the verge of becoming my favorite console, but I just need a better, smaller, cleaner, fancier way of having it handheld. And then we're talking. I really want this to be pretty nice little handheld. I will buy a second Switch if that happens. If and only if. Then Kirby Breath of the Wild. We have been really getting told by Hal that the next Kirby game will be a big thing and really reinvent the formula. So my two 2021 wishes are just that we see this new Kirby, and my two like prototypes in my head are there's Kirby Breath of the Wild, where they reconsider the 2D way of playing, which is so good if you can make Kirby, like I said, more engaging, more like puzzly and mental, and either the small term with like more complicated combat or something, I don't know, or the larger term, like making it a more fun to progress and get permanent item progress and that kind of thing. That'd be very engaging for me. I would really like that. The other one would be Kirby Ocarina of Time, which is a 3D game, and have fun with that. I don't have too many thoughts about how that's gonna go, but I do have to think about that, and I might enjoy it a lot. And my third major wish is Silksong. I just want to play Hollow Knight again, but I don't want to play Hollow Knight again, and I'm gonna, but I want a new game. I really, this year could be an amazing time to play Hollow Knight, but it's Hornet, and it's different, and there's more people, and it's more colorful from what it looks like, and then I can alternate which bug game I'm playing. I can play bug games more often if there's two of them. That's how I feel. Next month is Zelda 35th anniversary, and I want a good Wind Waker HD or Skyward Sword HD. This is like a pretty popular take, but Wind Waker HD on the Switch would be amazing. Yeah, I would just play that so much. It would be so big. It would be a very, very big game that could absolutely come this year. And it's a popular take because it's a Wii U port. Aside from that, Skyward Sword HD, I just want to play Skyward Sword, so that's what I mean by that. I don't think I have any notes about 2D Zelda, although I like 2D Zelda, and I have a lot of things I could say about 2D Zelda, but I guess my biggest wish actually would be letting me play either Wind Waker or Skyward Sword on Switch. That really could be one of my favorite 3D Zeldas. Not that I've played Skyward Sword, it just seems like I'm gonna like it a lot. Yeah, it's a 2D Zelda concept for 2022. I don't know how likely it is that they're gonna like tell us the idea of a game and then make it next year if it's 2D Zelda. If it's new, then maybe, but yeah, I think I'm just kind of always up for that. In Mystery Dungeon, I'm also kind of not dying for new stuff this year, but one of my wishes that is just alive, that could be fulfilled at any time, would be Galar Mystery Dungeon. I just really want to play another game on the Rescue Team DX's format that they've gone and invested so much in making wicked addicting and fun, but it's got more writing like Super, and it's got new Pokemon. There's so many good Alola and Galar Pokemon. There's so many good ones. That would be my Gen 8 game. For Pokemon 2021, I kind of wanted to blend what I liked from the last two Switch games, which is a nice, well-polished and pretty overworld, like they did with the remake of Let's Go, and the overworld having good, like, Pokemon. Like, I think they were very ambitious with Galar, and it did pay off every once in a while with the overworld, because there are some routes where I'm like, this route is so ambitious, like, there's very few, but I really, really like Route 2. where you're walking down the hill and you can see Sonya's lab and you can see the lake, and just having the Pokemon pop out of the grass. I didn't even know you could whistle to them to play with them a little bit and stuff. That is great. So if we get a remake of a Gen 4 game, okay, Johto's Gen 2, if we get a remake of one of those games that came out when I was a kid, I'd be much more inclined to love it if it was really nice and comfy and well polished and nice and warm feeling to me, like Let's Go was. But don't skimp on the overworld. Do whatever you want to the overworld, you know? If you're just giving it a nice coat of paint, go ahead and give us some nice overworld Pokemon to look at. I really like having them walk around. That's my big take. No fan riots near me. Please don't cause the fans near me to get mad for a lot of the year. I wouldn't like that. If anything happens in Smash to get me interested, it would be some sort of far out indie game representation, some indie game that hasn't been an Echo Fighter, which I'm being told is less and less likely, but it's what I want. Splatoon 3, Sam is the Splatoon person in my life, and Sam says it's very likely that it could actually happen soon. So yeah, I want that on my wish list. I've really been getting a lot of momentum with Splatoon. I just kind of threw some other Kirby related wishes out there that are probably better than all these other realistic ones. Kirby Girl, every year I wish for this, as starting last year pretty much. I've looked at it, I've looked at old art, I've looked at Girl Magalore, who I'm going to post here. There's so much cool there's so much cool design, there's so many cool designs for girls that either last one game, or like, you know, villains or something, where it's either like a fairy helper, or a witch you have to fight, or, you know, like the Mage Sisters and Susie, these just really cool sprite-like girl designs, and I just feel like I want there to be an Isabelle. If they're gonna reinvent Kirby, I want there to be an Isabelle to go along with it. I want a new like mascot character who uses this cute girl design that they have and connects to like the magic side of things. Like she could be a magical ancient, or she could be somebody from another fairy kingdom, like the people of the sky. There's something to keep the magical side real and just tap into that design, because, you know, Kirby's Kirby, Meta Knight's a parallel to Kirby. I think DDD is sort of like the culmination of all the Dreamland enemies in my mind. He fits in with them and represents them. But we don't have like a classic standard character who represents those other parts of Kirby, like the villains and the witches and the magic side. It's really, you know, I like Magalore as a representation of the science-y side of the ancients and the sci-fi part of Kirby. I'd like him to stick around, but Girl Magalore is just the coolest design. I want her. She looks like she fits in the cast. I want her to be around all the time. I want it to be like Kirby and Meta Knight's past gets dealt. I forgot Kirby lore video, right? I want like Kirby and Meta Knight's past to get dealt with, and like she was one of the people from like the magical ancients who like helped to make them. It's hard to introduce a character without talking. I realize Meta Knight, King Dedede, and Kirby work really well because they don't talk, and I don't know if I want that for this character. They've had pretty much all of the guest girl characters talk, but even if they didn't, just like it doesn't even have to be her who goes into this deep lore stuff, but you could really get into like the origins of Kirby and Meta Knight if they truly are dark matter, spoilers maybe, with somebody who represents the magical side of the ancients besides like Highness, you know? I just really want Girl Magalore. Boy Magalore can be science side. Girl Magalore is the magic side. They're like twins, you know, they got separated. And, oh, he's got the old clockwork stars, and she knows all about the Jamba Jamba. Isn't it cohesive? Aren't you compelled? I had like a Kirby spin-off wishes to finish it. I want King Dedede Drum Dash 2. Just flesh out the rhythm game. Just do it. I just played the King Dedede like quasi-rhythm game that they have as the side mode in Epic Yarn 3D. That's really great. It feels really good. I like King Dedede rhythm games. Kirby Fighter 2 looks really good. I'll probably play it this year. And I want a rhythm version. That's what I want. And that non-action Kirby. There's another quote that was like, we've been thinking about making a Kirby game that's not action. And I'm like, okay. Give us Kirby Puzzle Stars. Give us Kirby Design a Crochet Teacup. Give us Kirby Cooking Fiasco. I think that's just genius. So on that note, Happy New Year! I am gonna wash my face and look at my to-do list and get on with January. Isn't that an exciting time? January. Well, I'm gonna edit this first. Procrastinate a little bit on washing my face. I'll see you. Hope you had fun. I talked. It was about stars. Let me know how you thought. Let me know how you felt. See you.